Welcome to the Growing Good podcast. I'm Cameron Bonsey, and in today's episode, we interviewed Richard Hodges of RetreeUS as he was celebrating the planting of their 100th school orchard. RetreeUS orchards have impacted over 30,000 students and created over 150,000 pounds of harvest for local schools and food pantries.
So Richard, we're here today. You're at Beach Plum Farm, 100 orchards. You founded it in 2012. Coast of Maine started helping out a little bit in 2014. It's been a long relationship. You've accomplished a lot. Why did you originally start Retrees?
So started the organization after doing a lot of work with students in outdoor setting and just giving kids an opportunity to get outside and interact with nature, and then kind of fell in love with gardening, and then just saw that as like a really easy access point for any young person to get outside. Lucky growing up in Maine to be near to so much nature, but every kid should get the opportunity to get involved in the outdoors, and gardens and orchards are a great way to do that. So I was running an educational garden in California, and I thought it was awesome that the kids were coming at the outdoor school to visit my garden, but I thought it'd be way better if it was in their school. And we had tons of fruit trees, and just fell in love with fruit trees and involving students with growing trees and seeing that connection. So having kids plant fruit trees and watch them grow over time and enjoy the fruits of their labor.
So to speak.
Yes, so to speak.
Well, I think that, as we walk down to the garden that just was, or the orchard that was just planted today, that experience for the kids, and also you're bringing a legacy, because talk about these orchards that you plant, apples, peaches, beach plums, when they start, it's a while before they start providing fruit, right?
Yeah, I mean, some of the peaches we plant, typically they're like 6 feet tall when we plant them. They can start producing within a couple years.
Yep.
But yeah, the apples and pears we plant usually take, 4, 5 years, and then really like about 8 or 9, 10 years before they're really producing a lot of fruit. So yeah, it's a forward-thinking, initiative. And, they say, what's the best time to plant a fruit tree? Like 10 years ago.
Right.
But now it's the second.
That's what it is. This is the legacy, right? Because it's going to take 10 years. And then how long is it going to provide fruit?
Yeah, I mean, some of these trees, like apples, can produce for 50. There's 100-year-old apple trees around here that still produce. So yeah, it's really creating a legacy, and that's what we talk to the kids about, is creating that legacy and giving back and thinking about the future, and something hopeful for the kids to do. That's empowering.
I think that that's the piece, especially in today's world, knowing that you can control your own mini environment,
Mm-hmm.
and then getting out and actually learning science, math, horticulture,
Right.
and experiencing it in such a positive way. Haven't you had kids come back that were part of the program from years ago and help with teaching the kids today?
Seeing kids like get the opportunity to come back and visit places and watch trees grow, double, 10 times the size.
So we have a Growing Good program, and obviously we actually call this podcast Growing Good. And so we want to support local schools, local retailers through that process. But one of the things that you're talking about too is also raising money so that somebody can adopt an orchard.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so now that we're crossing 100 orchard threshold, it's a lot to manage, and so we found over the course of these 12 years, planting in schools that, just like a coach, it's
Yes.
really great to have people paid for their work, and that gives you continuity. And it is extra work we're asking. Fruit trees are like less labor than some gardening can be, and it fits well into the school calendar, but it's work. You got to mulch the trees. You got to make sure there's no pests over the summer, and then you have to, prune the trees and protect them from whether it's rodents or deer. So it's a lot of work. And so, we're compensating our orchard caretakers with stipends. And so we're funding that through orchard adoption program. So local businesses, individuals can adopt an orchard, can put up a sign up at the orchard that kind of goes over, highlights their organization, their business, and talks about the program.
The piece one of the things about having an orchard, because we do a lot of school gardens, not on this scale, but a lot of smaller school gardens, that's always a problem getting somebody to come in, especially in the summertime.
Right.
It's a lot of work, it's a lot of burst of energy, and then it's a lot of cleaning, replanting, weeding, all of that. An orchard is a lot of work, but it's more permanent in a sense, right? You kind of have that classroom every year to go back to.
Right.
You get to know when the plants are going to bloom, when they're not. I would think that'd be a huge asset to teachers too.
Yeah, absolutely. And now what we're doing also is equipping teachers with lessons that are aligned to learning standards. So it's not taking away from class time, but they're actually able to bring their classroom outside and have an outdoor classroom with the orchard and use lessons that involve the orchard. And so we're working on that and creating these lessons and distributing them, sharing them with these orchard caretakers to utilize so that, we want these orchards to be outdoor classrooms.
Yeah, and I think that experiential learning, I was a kid that didn't like reading a book. Having an experiential learning experience, it's really powerful for every kid, but especially for some.
Yeah.
You have gotten grants, so can you talk a little bit about your grants and who's helping to support you?
Sure. I mean, early on, some of the community foundations in Maine have been huge to supporting us, like Quimby Family Foundation. We've also received support from Sewell, Onion Foundation, and even Stephen Tabitha King Foundation.
Yeah.
Some of these groups really integral to like our growth over time. And then now gotten to the point where we can access federal grants, USDA farm to school grants, EPA. Got some funding for a couple of years to really ramp up what we're doing and build some capacity and reach in these projects.
Well, and also you talk about continuing to grow. So we do compost and soils.
Right.
And the particular benefit with us and using particularly our Penobscot blend, I mean, you're not just using it because it's free soil.
Right.
I mean, you're using it because of the biology and the composting process and the reassurance that what is going in that bag is a totally positive thing.
Right.
Can you talk about that a little bit, about how you use our products?
Yeah, I think you mentioned like 2014. I think reached out to you all because just it's great quality product, like you said, something that you can rely on, and I think it's smart branding to include Maine, because I think Maine, imparts that sort of quality and attention to detail and consistency. And so, we've just loved working with the product and just seen huge benefits in the trees through incorporating it into our program. And, really grateful to have been involved for 10 years now with the soil. And it's really been integral to the whole process.
Sure. Well, we've enjoyed it, and you've also introduced us to other people, too. It's about that community.
Yeah.
So as we continue to grow that community, I really want to congratulate you on all the accomplishments, 100 orchards, and then think of all the pounds and pounds of fruit that's available, the learning, the thousands of kids you've impacted. You're doing a wonderful thing, so thank you.
Really appreciate it, yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of our Growing Good podcast. We hope today's chat planted some fresh ideas in your garden and maybe even inspired you to dig a little deeper into your own gardening adventures. This episode was edited by myself and Gabi Sott, published by Lori Hulbert, and music is a Cameron Bonsey original. Don't forget to stay connected with us. Visit our website for more resources and follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest updates, tips, and behind-the-scenes content. We appreciate your support and look forward to growing together in our next episode.